Good morning from London in the wonderful sunny United Kingdom today. I say good morning, I should also probably say good afternoon, good evening, and happy middle of the night for those of you that are joining us from far-flung places, because we usually attract an amazing international audience to Createc. So on behalf of the Creative Industries Council, welcome. It's wonderful to have you all here, and we are set for a fantastic couple of days. Some really brilliant sessions today, and without any further ado, I'm going to kick off and introduce you to the wonderful Dr. Jeremy Silva, who is Chief Executive at Digital Catapult, and he's also at the Creative Industries Council, the R&D and Innovation Lead.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Christine, and good morning, everyone. And a very warm welcome to CogX 2021, because we're right at the top of the conference. And this, think of yourself sitting in front of the Createc stage. I know you're all sitting at home. I hope you're sitting comfortably. My name is Jeremy Silva. I'm the CEO of Digital Catapult, and I've got the honor of also chairing the Creative Industries Council's Innovation R&D Working Group. Whatever you think of the term Createc, the collision of creative skills and technology skills across companies in all areas of the creative industries is super exciting. It used to be a bit of a problem trying to get the geeks and the lovies together. I used to spend days trying to explain different cultures and different ways of working, but these days companies just naturally make use of the technologies they need to enable the creative vision that they're reaching for, and that kind of artificial assistance is really not necessary. But of course, creativity and inventiveness aren't quite the same thing as innovation. And innovation is about taking those one-off ideas and turning them into scalable, repeatable solutions or approaches. And innovation is not just about technology, but it is massively enabled by it. And so the term Createc, creative technology, I think is very apt for our particular moment in the development of this whole sector. And when we look at our creative companies, we often find that there are ingenious technicians and creatives coming up with brilliant solutions on almost a daily basis to the kinds of technical and creative problems that are thrown up by the needs of the design that they're trying to achieve, or of a narrative and a story that's trying to be unfolded in a new and exciting way. And nearly always, these solutions are derived from the specifics of a particular circumstance, or a particular production, or a particular design experience or process, and much less frequent is the opportunity to actually share those solutions with others, let alone turn them into tools that other people can actually use. And so part of the work that we do within the working group at the Creative Industries Council, the Innovation Working Group, and at Digital Catapult is really about trying to encourage more of that more conscious research and development. We think that if you can see more R&D of a more structured kind in creative companies, then the sector could benefit even more widely from its own ingenuity and its own creativity. That's why we try to encourage and support all kinds of innovation across the sector. And that's a lot of what we do within Digital Catapult. Digital Catapult is the authority on advanced digital technology in the UK, and our role is really to help early adopters of those advanced digital technologies. And we're the only Catapult. There's a network of 9, but we're the one that has a specific remit to focus on the creative industries. And so we've been very active in the last year on creating a 5G festival, which is both a collaboration platform for musicians as well as a virtual experience for remote consumers and fans of music to enjoy music remotely. We work closely with Arts Council England on a project called Creative XR, which is a program which encourages 20 production businesses a year to experiment with immersive technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality to create new kinds of cultural expressions and tell new stories in new ways. We collaborate extensively with UKRI, Innovate UK, and the AHRC, the Arts and Humanities Research Council in particular, And their work on the creative clusters and audience of the future as two big programs across the creative industries, I think is really, really important in all of this. And in addition to these sorts of projects, we've also partnered in creating groundbreaking immersive facilities, including those at the Imaginarium, Dimension Studios, where they engage in volumetric capture, and a new virtual production studio at Target 3D. So taking our ingenuity and our creativity and translating the solutions that come out of it into innovation that can be productized and more widely shared and sold around the world is what creative technology businesses or technology savvy creative businesses can do. That's what investors recognize, and that's what they're looking for. So we really appreciate DCMS's support in a range of activities that support these efforts. The Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport has been really proactive in looking at how to scale up creative businesses, and the Creative Scale Up program, which has been a 2-year pilot from DCMS, has really helped not just the companies themselves, but really importantly, trying to build investor confidence. And we think this is immensely important and incredibly valuable. And at the same time, we've also seen this year DCMS launching a £30 million support program to encourage the use of 5G technology in creative contexts. And I mentioned the 5G virtual festival that Digital Catapult's been leading. That's part of that program. And there are a number of other projects within that overall program, which are super exciting. The Eden project in Cornwall is exploring how 5G and 360-degree video cameras can enhance the visitor experience. There's a Connected Cows project looking at 5G technology in immersive yacht racing experiences, and a bunch of other programs as well. So over the next 3 days, the Createc stage at CogX is going to be hosting an incredible array of sessions, including highlights around how 5G can disrupt the creative industries, how the old Vic responded to the pandemic by experimenting with live streamed social distanced performances, a behind the scenes look at the incredible Netflix phenomenon of Bridgerton, non-fungible tokens, the future of digital art, question mark, great conversation coming up on that. And perhaps most exciting from my point of view, Jack Savaretti in conversation with Nile Rodgers later on in the next day or so. And we're going to look at what the Olympics might look like in the next 10 years. And there's also going to be sessions on fashion, advertising, and the metaverse. The metaverse, the future of all of our lives, I suspect. Much more on that still to come. So all these sessions are going to provide an incredible opportunity to get an update snapshot of the UK's creative technology sector. I hope you enjoy them. I think that's probably enough for me for now. But it's a great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who's been a tremendous champion to so many of these initiatives through this really difficult last 18 months. And I can't imagine a context in which it could be more challenging to be a government minister than in the face of a pandemic, which has affected the creative industries so dramatically in positive ways and also incredibly difficult negative ways as well. And we've, I think, seen tremendous support. And I think we're all really appreciative of that level of response that has come from DCMS. And so it's a great pleasure to introduce the Minister of State for Digital and Culture at DCMS, Caroline Dinenage. Caroline, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Jeremy. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Although I feel a little bit of trepidation now. You've said that later on we'll be hearing from Nile Rodgers and Jack Savaretti, and then you say me. No pressure. But thank you for inviting me to help open this fabulous fest of CreaTech here at CogX 2021. It has been a tough year, but you know, having the creative industries and the digital sectors in my government portfolio is an absolute joy. It has been really wonderful to work with people like you and many, many others who are at this event today. And events like these demonstrate the magic that happens when you smush together the power of the two, of the creative industries and the digital world. And it's also really lovely to be able to speak to such a wide range of people across both sectors and right across the globe today to highlight some of the really exciting results that are coming out of this nexus of creativity and technology. we all know that the pandemic has just been a huge struggle for so many people, for individuals, for families, and for businesses in so very many different ways. Here in the UK, the government has done what it can to support people through this really, really difficult time. We've had the Culture Recovery Fund, nearly £2 billion worth of support, and the TV and Film Production Restart Scheme to help our TV and film industry keep going through this really difficult time. But actually, it's been you, those of you who are watching today, those who are at the sharp end, who have made the real difference at helping to see us through to the other side. It's been you who has innovated to find new ways of reaching audiences and customers. It's been you who has found new ways to make yourselves accessible during the most trying of times. And it has been you that has dug deep and found ways and means of getting the job done. And guess what? It's paid off, because here we are. We're all still doing it and celebrating another year at CogX and the amazing progress that we've made together during this incredibly difficult time. And I think this progress is demonstrated by the second phase of the CreaTech 2021 report, which you'll hear about in more detail in a later panel. So not too many spoilers from me, but early projections for 2021 suggest it will be a record year for VC investment. And we're predicting 2022 to be bigger still, with more than £1.2 billion of investment. Not only that, but Createc is considered to be one of the highest growth areas of venture capital investment alongside climate tech. This, to me, really reinforces the importance of our digital and our creative sectors. On skills and jobs, the report highlights how important creative design is to the field of Createc. It allows those technical skills to really flourish and to enhance the products and services that businesses can offer, not only to employees, but also to their customers. And as we look to the future, the move past this pandemic, as best we can, the digital and creative industries will drive growth. They will help rebuild our economies, and they will help generate amazing innovative jobs here in the UK and around the world. And that's why the digital and creative industries were recognised as two of the high growth sectors which will drive forward economic growth in our Chancellor's plan for growth. It's also why the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy has been leading work on an innovation strategy to ensure that we can continue to be world leaders in innovation and research and development. And not only in traditional science and technology fields, but also in the creative fields. It also supports my Secretary of State, my boss's 10 tech priorities, which he set out earlier this year. And this includes helping to level up digital prosperity across the UK. It's about building a tech-savvy nation, giving people the skills they need to succeed, fueling a new era of startups and scale-ups. It's about unleashing the power of AI and data and leading the global conversation on tech. I also think that Createc has the power to help the soul and to help us recover from some of the harrowing experiences of the last 18 months, like some of the miraculous advancements in virtual and augmented reality, which have allowed people to really feel part of the action, part of the Royal Shakespeare Company's performance of Dream through the Audience of the Future programme, which was amazing, or our amazing musicians who've used live streaming to continue entertaining their audiences, like the fantastic Dua Lipa's 2054 concert. And that's why events like CogX are so important, and why having a Createc stage is something that we should really celebrate. You can look forward to, as you've heard from Jeremy, some incredible panels on how technology can really help to progress more sustainable fashion choices, how 5G can be both a disruptor and an enabler for creative industries, and how esports and technology may change the Olympics as we know it in the future. So I'd really encourage you to take part in as much of the scheduled programming as you can. Take advantage of the incredible guest speakers available here and use the opportunity to catch up and learn from each other. I really, really hope that you will all find something inspiring to take away with you over this time. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the fruits of that inspiration over the course of the next month and the next year. I'd just before I go, really like to thank the organisers of the Createc stage for all their work on this year's events, as well as the CogX organisers for having me and us back again. And I really hope that next year we will all be in the room again. It would be lovely to do it in person. I'd like to meet more of you in real life as we continue to build back better across the UK. So it's a big thank you from me, and I hope you all have a wonderful expo.
Very excited to be here, Stephen Kelly, and thank you very much, Minister, for those inspiring comments, and Jeremy and Christine for opening the stage today. I'm in the beautiful, beautiful city of Plymouth, just having done a walk from Falmouth to Plymouth. So if I break up slightly, it's just the amazing boutique hotels with not necessarily 5G technology, but we will persevere and we will make the best of this, and it's fantastic. So also what I wanted to say is, if you have questions for any of the speakers today, then feel free to go ahead and ask them, and we'll have hopefully some time at the end to address your questions. So I'm very excited following the Minister to announce the publication of the first in-depth, groundbreaking research commissioned with the brilliant work from the Creative Industries Council, Digital Catapult, and Moore Kingston Smith. And I saw actually pre-pandemic a report saying that the combination of digital technology and the creative industries by 2030 could account for 50% of the UK economy. And today, you know, creative industries accounts for 116 billion of the economy and is growing rapidly, despite the pandemic has actually flourished when other industries, which we feel bad for, have suffered. So TechNation's role is really to be the platform to support those scale-ups across the UK. And since our inception, we've supported about 3,000 startups and scale-ups with an incredible success rate. I looked at this and it's over 95% company success rate for the community. And the community's raised over £20 billion of investment. The most recent one was Darktrace, fantastic company in the cyber and the security world. And we've actually trained about almost 60,000 people through the Academy Learners program. And now we're sitting on an industry, and just in terms of technology and digital, that actually was valued in terms of the market capitalization of all the companies about 600 billion. So heading towards that trillion mark with rapid growth. And it's such an important industry for the economy in terms of job creation and high value job creation for powerful regions. So tech now employs about 3 million fantastic folks around the country. Creative employs about 4.3 million. So you can see with the growth rates that are projected through to 2030, the path where actually the combination of creative, digital, and technology could actually create 50% of the economy. And these tend to be higher value jobs. So just put it in perspective, you know, tech employing 3 million people, to construction industry, which is about 1.9 million people, and the financial services industry, which is 1.2 million industry. So technology and digital is very much the beating heart of the nation. And when the Prime Minister and ministers talk about building back better, has got to be absolutely the cornerstone of the strategy of high quality job creation and sustainable competitive advantage. And I'm so excited about Createc because it is the combination of some of these technologies: virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial learning, the power of algorithms. And just as I was walking along that amazing South Coast path from Falmouth down in Cornwall, I just witnessed the most incredible beauty in terms of butterflies, nature, the different colors. And you can see how technology, as Jeremy highlighted, to some of these solutions around agriculture are really having massive impact. But it is going to radically change the design industry, the industry around museums, events, fashion, film, architect, and it really bodes very well for the future, because these are the areas where the UK has had a traditional level of excellence, and actually that's supported within our brilliant academic institutions, having 4 of the top 10 universities. So with that, Createc, we launched a report back in March. I'm very excited to see that the VC investment, as the Minister said, touched almost £1 billion, which was up 22%, and is projected to increase to 25% too. And this puts us third only to China and the US. And it actually represents almost 10% of the total technology VC investment, and dwarfs industries like energy tech, and actually a quarter of the size of fintech. So it is a real powerhouse in terms of CreaTech, and it's impacting very well on the economy. I think with today's report, what I see is very exciting news, because it is the first report. And it actually excludes, furthermore, access to freelancers, where we know that CreaTech is, and creative industries is an industry that has a very strong embodiment of freelancers. But the report, therefore, probably understates the impact that CreaTech makes across the industry. But effectively, what it found was that we are seeing CreaTech growing jobs 5 times faster than the rest of the economy. So from 2017 to 2019 growth, the rest of the economy was growing at about 3% in terms of jobs, and CreaTech is 5 times that. And an absolute explosion around some key roles, which you probably know are like gold dust now, in terms of digital design and project kind of designer skills, actually grew by a staggering 178% and 150% respectively. So that means now CreaTech VC investment really is very, very strong at $1 billion. And I mentioned the overall on the overall total record-breaking year last year of VC investment, which was 15 billion in the UK, which was groundbreaking, a record in itself. Of that, about 63% came from overseas, whereas within CreaTech, it's actually 64% of the VC investment coming from domestic UK venture capital companies. So actually it's shifted and skewed from the generic, particularly US VCs, where CreaTech has got a very strong indigenous domestic powerhouse supported by VCs at home. Now, the interesting thing as well, in terms of high quality jobs and high value jobs, again, CreaTech median salaries is 11% higher than the UK median. And to the Minister's point, I think it's very powerful around diversity, inclusion, and the levelling up agenda, because we're seeing some incredible innovations in companies across Scotland and Ireland, and Wales and the Southwest as well. In terms of the future, what does it look like? The growth and the outline is very strong and very powerful, and it's looking to grow 25% to 2022 in terms of investment in CreaTech. And actually that makes the CreaTech industry second only to the climate change technology marketplace, which is growing at 35%, and dwarfs some industries that are really at 10%. So, you know, we have great success in creative industries. We've got incredible innovation in the merging of technology and incredibly innovative technologies like AI, 5G, virtual reality, augmented reality, to create new markets, create new solutions for different audiences. And it's very powerful in terms of how the data suggests that this is key to the job marketplace, employment and high value jobs, and also has a great perspective in terms of growth. A couple of companies that I'd love to call out. Vivid Q is a leader up in holography. And again, breaking ground in terms of augmented reality wearables, and also looking at how to display very differently in the automotive sector and retail and home entertainment, doing brilliant work. And then other companies include Data Duopoly, who are revolutionizing visitor experience. And as Jeremy said in his opening comments, actually doing some brilliant innovations with the projects like Eden Project, and also during the pandemic to give visitors a really good view of busy times and how to protect themselves through social distancing. And then another company, a Dimension, which is a collaboration of Hammerhead, Microsoft, in the Great Northeast, which is close to my heart, up in Gateshead, who are doing incredible work in terms of virtual reality studios. So we've got some brilliant examples of companies all over the UK really embracing career technology and creating you wouldn't have imagined 10 years ago. And it's a very exciting time, and really absolutely delighted to take part today. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Do ask your questions, and it's fantastic for CogX for us to be part of this. And I applaud finally the work of the Creative Industries Council, who do exceptionally fantastic work in terms of the leadership for the industry, and it's great to be part of that with the technology hat at Tech Nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, both of you, and also thank you to the Minister, who's had to go off and do another engagement. Jeremy, we've got some questions actually for both of you that have come in from the audience. And by the way, everybody, do tweet away and social media like crazy, hashtag CreaTech. I guess question for you, Jeremy. You were saying when you introduced the session that one of the things that you're very keen to do at Digital Catapult is to support companies, creative companies, to use R&D in a sort of a more structured way. Can you talk a bit about the challenges that you face or that they face when they try and do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the simple answer is really scale. You know, the fact is that most early stage companies who are capable of doing really interesting research and development in new technologies of this kind are very small and are very focused on the particular project or the particular service that they're offering. And it's very difficult for those sorts of companies to then explore an area outside of their main area of focus that might not yet have evolved fully or might have lots of potential, but it still isn't proven. And that's, you know, to do that within your own budget, whether whether you've got investment or not, is quite challenging if you're trying to build a business where your focus is on building revenues. The value, therefore, of tapping into the kinds of grants, the kinds of funds that come out of Innovate UK or the Arts and Humanities Research Council, like the Creative Clusters Programme or the Audience of the Future Programme or the current Creative Industries Programme that Innovate UK have just been running, is that it gives those companies that extra opportunity to have a little bit of extra cash to just pursue an idea they might not otherwise be able to reach. And I think that that's the beginning of a journey. It's not the end of it, but it's creating a habit, but also I think opening up the opportunity of exploring these sorts of new kinds of areas. And Stephen was talking about that particular set of technologies, which of course is quite varied and quite diverse across 5G, augmented reality, virtual reality. I mean, they're each of them very different from each other, although 5G is a great enabler of both of those. And of course, artificial intelligence, which kind of underpins all of this kind of activity and enables it in lots of ways. I think if you look at other sectors, there is much more of a tradition of doing this kind of structured R&D, where particularly the larger companies will bring funds of their own in and match those to public funds and really put very big projects into place, where collaboratively across a sector, they can really open up new opportunities. And we see that in aerospace, we see it in the life sciences. I would love to see that begin to happen in the creative industries, because I think, you've heard from Stephen how strong we are. You've heard what the opportunity is in terms of the levels of growth that exist already, and therefore the opportunities for job creation. But we could go so much further, and relatively small amounts of public money that are at the moment being used very effectively by other sectors. If we could get our act together in the creative industries to do that too, I think we've got a huge opportunity ahead of us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Stephen, you were talking about, I mean, I love the fact that CreaTech is sort of neck on neck with climate tech, and what a wonderful week to be sort of releasing that report and hearing how attractive the sector has become to investment and venture capital from all over the world. I wanted to ask you a question further to the sort of levelling up agenda, because obviously lockdown has created lots of opportunities for the creative industries. You know, we're a pretty innovative bunch, and the tech sector, obviously. But it's also highlighted this problem of digital poverty or digital inclusion or lack of, where, you know, we first heard about it with school children not having enough either access to online or access to equipment. And I'm just wondering whether and how digital poverty can be addressed so that everybody continues to have access or begins to have access to all the wonderful work that the sector's producing and learn to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Christine. And obviously we're really excited with today's report showing how brilliant the UK is. But I think all of us would do, and actually we probably haven't talked about it, but we certainly could do much more through the education system. We could do much more in terms of career advice for, you know, guys coming out of school and colleges. We certainly could probably, as Jeremy said, just rehone some of the tax incentives to make sure they're fully effective. So there's lots more to do, and I think you really strike on a very, very topical chord, really. You know, I've been down, as I said, in Cornwall, walk along beautiful parts of our wonderful UK countryside, and yet there's kind of no cell connection. No signal whatsoever. So I think what I would say is there's plenty more to do, and it will take time. But I know the government are really, really committed around the levelling up agenda. And digital poverty is a way through education and digital kind of skills. Plus, you know, as Jeremy highlighted, 5G is just really the platform for really infinite communicate that allows these innovative solutions around video and just driving massive amounts of data, you know, gigabytes, terabytes, even petabytes of data around the kind of World Wide Web. And 5G is a real kind of way to unleash that power. So very encouraged with recent announcements from DCMS, very encouraged about their initiative to support 5G, to give us that platform to be a true digital nation and create digital Britain. And also quite encouraged by the in the last couple of years, and BT is a real part of the solution here and could be a powerhouse to provide right across the regions very high speed connectivity, which is absolutely vital to eliminate digital poverty. And there's probably two parts of it. One is obviously you've got to have the platform 5G in place or equivalent, very high speed, infinitely available, and hopefully very low cost. The other thing then we got to do is once we have that, that is, you know, sadly, so we've really got to bring a whole community of some of the elderly people who have absolutely, you know, I take my hat off to during the pandemic, where they're into kind of reading stories to their grandchildren and really embracing digital technology on WhatsApp groups and all these sort of things we take for granted now. But it does show the appetite and the hunger within the nation, within all communities, for digital access. And I think we're on the path, but I would never underestimate the scale of what we need to do in some of the most remote part of digital poverty. But the work's going on and it will take time, but I'm very confident we'll get there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to the end of the session. Thank you both for your time. Thank you also to the Minister. I should have said right at the beginning, what is the Creative Industries Council? The Creative Industries Council is a joint forum between industry and government. It basically came together, or rather constituents came together to discuss and find solutions to barriers to growth, but also to capitalize on all the fantastic opportunities that we have in this country and beyond. One of the things that the Creative Industries Council and Createc do every year is put together a Createc Ones to Watch list of the hottest, kind of most interesting companies that are doing lots and lots of really innovative work. Nominations for inclusion, there's 100 that go on the list, close this Friday, and you can put your nomination on the Creative Industries website, which is thecreativeindustries.co.uk. Thank you both very much for your time today. Please, everybody, come back at 11 o'clock where there'll be lots more exciting things to talk about. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. See you soon.